All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Blame Your Brother, episode 202. We are back after last week's shenanigans, and we're here to entertain you for the next hour or so. We are streaming live at blameyourbrother.tv, and that, of course, streams on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live, and Twitch. So come hang out with us Thursday nights, 8 p.m. as we do our thing here. We are Blame Your Brother. I'm one third of that trio. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, voice of the people, Mr. 40%, Glenn Jackson, the spiritual midget, the dictator, the man who will save America. And I sit next to this gentleman who is the doppelganger of a man wanted by the law. It's my brother, Lee.
What up, everyone? It is Ron Jeremy's bastard son, the one and only LeBron safety pin.
And then we have this guy that sits over here to the right of me every week. It's John.
Hey, everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, the Madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman. They do have a madman. Okay, he's a madman.
All right, we're back, and football is back. Football time in Tennessee's back. So hopefully, maybe you're checking us out instead of the game. If not, you can grab the episodes every Friday morning on all podcast apps. So go check that out as well if you can't make it to the live stream. But we got a good chat room going tonight. We're going to get through. We got a lot of things to talk about. And, you know, we start off the same way every week. Apologies, retractions, omissions, a chance for us to undo the wrong that happened on last week's episode. So we will start with Lee. Lee, is there anything you need to apologize for?
No.
Okay. John, anything?
I've got a non-apology and an apology.
Okay.
I will start with the non-apology. This goes out to Rusty Greer. I hope you burn in hell.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Holy.
Wow.
I was in so much pain Friday, the whole day.
Really?
My stomach hurts so bad from that Death Nut Challenge.
Okay.
Just,
We'll get to that. Okay.
my apology goes out to Lee. I stole
No.
one of your spoons.
There you go.
So I'm
I've
returning
been looking
this.
for that
I know
thing.
you probably just were, beside yourself.
Well, six
couldn't sleep.
You need to apologize to his maid who he fired, sixfigure.com over here. He thought the maid had done it, so he let her go this week.
I inventory all
tell
my spoons.
Esperanza that I'm sorry.
Wow. John's just coming out firing tonight.
Rusty, go to hell. And that's whatever you said the name was. Sorry.
All for David. I guess he's too big to know what Lee's made.
You made up.
name is.
Hey, I mean, I don't
Made
know.
up her name. No. We're
You're
tight.
right. I'm not at
She
least.
works at the hotel. Too.
Okay, well, there you go. John, the blue collar man of America. Yes. So last week, a lot of it was a blur. I think we did pretty good factual. I don't know. Somebody said I made a mistake. Probably. There was a lot going on last week. So last week we did the Death Nut Challenge, and obviously we're going to start by talking about that. Now, John, you said you were in pain. Lee, were you in any?
I mean, I don't know if this is something that we should really talk about. Like, I don't know if people are interested to hear about the intestinal distress caused by hot nuts.
Well,
I would say don't eat hot nuts if given the opportunity. If someone's like, do you want to do Death Challenge version 2? Just say, nah, man, I'm good. I'm just going to leave it there at that, okay?
Well, I'm going to tell you, before you guys get started, I had zero problems on my life. I was fine. I was like, I did wake up at 4 a.m. because my daughter woke up. And I got it. My stomach was feeling a little bit weird. I went back to sleep. Fine. So I don't know, John, what was your life like?
Man, it felt like the Hatfields and the McCoys were going at it in my stomach.
Oh, no.
Just horrible. And it was like, I mean, I don't know how to say anything without being too graphic, but just
It was bad.
It was bad.
Well, here's the problem. You had to stay awake the entire time. See,
I did.
I got to sleep it off. Now, Lee obviously has a weaker stomach than the both of us. I don't know, but than me, I guess. But you're.
I mean, I wasn't like when we did the hot chip challenge. That one stuck with me for about 3 days. I could feel a ball of pain, like a little bitty spicy nugget in my stomach for like 3 days. This one, I woke up. I had to flush the system. It wasn't enjoyable, but yeah, I felt like
we got through it.
As I went through the day, it was fine. It was fine.
I'm gonna actually do a correction on a listener. who said I was wrong, and that would be your nephew, Jeffrey, said, yes, you were doing the potato chip Mount Rushmore. Well, actually, no, it was just the chip Mount Rushmore. We clarified at the beginning it was not potato chips, it was all chips. So, sorry, dude, you're wrong.
He just wants people. He's like what we call in the industry a hater. He just wants people to be wrong, you know?
Well, it's fine. I mean, he did stay awake for the entire 24-hour
I mean, yeah,
stream,
we
so
love
I
him.
can't,
We
go
love
at him too
him.
hard. But if you're going to get a mistake, be like Michael Anthony. Get it right, I mean, so, anyway. No, we made it through, like I said, if you had to eat all of that entire box by yourself, forget about it. There's no way.
There's a way.
No, you think you could do that?
I didn't say I would want to, but you could. You said there's no problem.
For one, I mean,
Your face was as red as that T-shirt last week.
well, at the moment, I can deal with pain in the moment.
I think it's possible, but just not for one of us.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Brooke Jolly said we were wimps, and that
Yeah, he
13
did.
million Scovilles is nothing. I'm like,
He said his kids ate hotter stuff like that for breakfast.
Well, Brooke, come on the show. I'll buy you the box, and you could show us how it's done. All right?
that's a challenge. That's a
challenge.
death
There you
challenge.
go. Okay.
All right, so the gauntlet's been thrown. Brooke, if you want to come on the show,
or if anyone else thinks that they can handle the hot
he has to eat
challenge.
the entire box by himself
The
in
only
the hour.
person that's been on the show that I feel that would be able to hack it, maybe J. Rob, because he did the one chip challenge.
that's
he
true.
seemed to.
Enjoy
He was
it?
like
licking his lips, like licking
he's like,
face.
get that dirt off my shoulder. He was.
Yeah, I don't know. Man.
So I mean,
well,
I'm not saying it was easy.
Right.
It'd be easy for him. I think that he'd be able to hack it.
all right, well, Brooke Jolly, you're on the hook, brother. So I know you listen. So John has called you out. We'll send if you want to do it from the comfort of your own home and record it and send it to us. You can do that. But dude, I'm telling you, I've watched videos of people doing that entire box, and it's bad. For everyone I've watched, no one's walked out going, "Yep, that was easy." So
I'm just saying, after a few of those nuts, he won't be telling any Dolly Parton jokes.
there you go. That's a callback to episode 200. Anyway, all right, well, we're going to move on past that then. It's a new week here. Like I said, football is back. NFL's back this week. Who cares about that?
Who's playing? What is that like? Are all the teams playing?
I think it's the Hall of Fame game. Whoa, man, please don't let me correct on this. I believe it's the Chiefs and the Texans. That's the commercial I saw. It was,
and this is like the first game of the season?
yeah, first game of the season.
And they're kicking it off on a Thursday?
Yeah, it usually they do. So I would like to see it for what it just looks like, because I don't believe there's fans there. I mean, I don't know that.
I think they're trying to do what wrestling is doing right now, having the screens
okay
with the fans.
Yeah,
there.
so NBA is doing that too, and it's funny because they'll have celebrities up there. Like who's our boy we used to talk about all the time? Lil Wayne was like blowing just big clouds of smoke, and you could see it in the game.
Why not?
And then last night I saw that Kanye West was watching an NBA game on 100-foot screen television. He was as tall as the players on the screen watching it. It was ridiculous, dude.
Like at his house?
Yeah,
I mean,
wherever he was at.
if you were to say there was one celebrity that was doing that, that'd probably be your guess.
Yeah, that's a good one. Would I do that? Yeah, probably if I had the money. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it would be pretty cool. I mean, the players literally were as big as he was. Like, he was walking up and down with them on the court. It was a huge stage. I mean, can you imagine a 100-foot screen? That's bigger. I don't know. I've never seen a 100-foot screen, so I don't know where that could even be held at. I mean, he must have it built. And I guess the Kardashians show is over with. It's the final season.
14 years, right?
Is
Something like
anyone
that.
going to miss that show at this point?
I mean, there are people, not any of us.
Those people will miss those paychecks probably.
I was surprised that show was still on the air. I thought it had been canceled years ago.
Oh, no. My wife still watches it.
What?
If it's on. Yeah, dude. Women love that kind of stuff, dude. And I'm not.
Women?
If I'm in the room.
Women.
Are you saying you know men?
I'm just saying, I think that statement warrants a certain.
Oh, no. I'm about to say, if it's on, I'll definitely. I've told you, man. You know my thoughts on Kim Kardashian. I think she's a solid 10. So if it's on, yeah, I'll watch it. But I'm not. I don't actively. I don't like those shows, man.
Shame.
I used to watch it Jay Cutler show a lot because I just kind of like Jay Cutler. He's a Vanderbilt guy. He lives here and everything.
Yeah.
But after a while, I'm like, I'm bored.
Your aunt also knows the.
Yeah.
Well, her granddaughter goes to school with their daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think Cutler and his wife got divorced.
Yeah.
So, oh well, there was that end. We were going to try to get Jay Cutler on the show. That's not happening. So
He ain't got nothing else going on.
I guess he's dating. Oh my God,
Fox News host.
Yeah,
or
Tommy
whatever.
Lahren.
Yeah.
What?
How does that? You gotta.
I figured he was kind of a Republican dude anyway, but Tommy Lahren is the worst, dude. She lives here too. That's even more bad news. I don't know, man. We're gonna get into the politics stuff, but I have. I'll start with just saying I'm back in college, man, and I've been doing all right with it. I found out biology's all open book, so if I fail that, I don't deserve to get the credit, and it's still difficult. I was gonna write some of the questions down. I wish I would have. Some of the words I can't even pronounce. So it's like, what's the difference between a prokaryotic and an eukaryotic? I'm like, I don't even know. But I'm taking Intro to Cinema, which sounds like a pretty easy course, right? Like, I mean, you watch movies, you write about the stupid movies. I wrote the first paper. I thought it was terrible. I got 100 on it. I was like, all right, cool. I work on the second paper. I thought this paper was like solid. Dude. I was like, this professor's going to make, this guy has it. I got like a 70 on it, dude. I'm like, what? Who's giving out 70s at a state college?
Was it the same teacher?
Yes.
What did he give you a reason?
He said, you didn't formulate your ideas enough and you didn't follow the examples of the book. I literally just copied what the book said as far as, anyways, the point is, but did you know probably there's a website where you can go check out professors, right? So I Googled this dude's name. Oh, it's going to be a long year because
I mean, you waited a little too late to do that.
These were all bad reviews, brother. And I think any professor at a community college teaching Intro to Cinema probably has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, I would imagine. I would imagine this guy probably at one point fancied himself a critic. Maybe before that he fancied himself a movie maker. He couldn't do either of those, so now he's teaching Intro to Cinema in Nashville State Community College. I don't care. If I get a 70, amen, brother. I just want the credit. I don't want an A. I don't care. I just need 5 classes. That's it. If I get D's in all of them, I'm fine with that.
This is where America went wrong, ladies and gentlemen.
You know where America went wrong is the education system in itself. Just give people the credits because that's all they're doing. You're offering classes that are all online open book. Now, do you honestly believe that anybody, once again, is taking Intro to Biology because they have to for another class, is absorbing any of that information for a long-term gain? No, not whatsoever. They just need your money. Well, the joke's on you because the state's paying for it. I don't have to pay for it anyway.
Well, they're getting theirs.
Well, they're getting it, but they're not getting it from me. And thanks to Governor Lee, I normally don't like you, but I do like the fact that you're paying for my college. So anyway, that's kind of bummed me out. I was like, God, I thought the paper was better. You know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe I haven't written in a long time.
Maybe you shouldn't copy from the book. Maybe
you
should take the time to formulate your opinion.
And I thought about that too.
So what was the topic?
You had to write about a movie. So I picked A Fistful of Dollars, a Clint Eastwood Western movie. You had to say, is it a Western and why? And I literally there were 3 examples in the book. A, it's set in the West. So in the first paragraph, I said, this is a Western because it's set in the West. The movie starts in this year in this place, and you can see the Western front, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's one thing. And then the second thing is, I can't even think. It's so stupid stuff. That's the part I copied, just what it is, the definition.
You know what you should have? You went against your own being, your own aura.
John's got it.
David being David would have been like, you know what? This isn't a Western, and I'll tell you why it isn't a Western. And you would have done that just because everybody else thinks it's a Western.
That's probably true.
That's probably he thought that Fistful of Dollars was not a Western.
Here's the best part, John, because you kind of got to my last paragraph. What I did say, it is not your typical Western, and I gave my reasons why, and he did not like that paragraph at all. He said, don't like the last paragraph. You did not elaborate enough. This is a 1.5 page paper, double spaced. How much elaboration can I do, brother? I mean...
Well, the thing is, if you're writing a paper about Fistful of Dollars being a Western, you don't wait to the last paragraph to say it's not.
Well, I said it's not. I said it's not your typical Western.
Okay, well, obviously the professor, who very esteemed, he got a prestigious
very esteemed
chair at the Nashville Tech. He knows, all right? He sees hundreds. He sees thousands
he's
of these
grassroots,
papers.
man. He could have gone to Vanderbilt,
he picked Nashville
Belmont,
State.
He's here for you.
So here's what I got to say. My next movie, I have to pick it was a list of movies. Now, this is a movie that our father claimed was like his favorite movie of all time. So what do you think that movie would be?
It's the one about the Indian.
It is
What's
the
it
one about
called?
the Indian.
Last of Mohicans.
Last of
of the
Mohicans.
Mohicans.
And you have to talk about who's the protagonist, who's the antagonist, what is the nature of their arc of their character, what is the narrative presented. So today I took notes of like a whole 2 pages. I'm going to ace this next paper. If I don't,
you'll have to update us.
I just need it once again. I just need a 70. So that's really what I've been doing most of the time. Is just cramming for these stupid
The
classes.
big thing though is when you're writing essays, it's not about the work. It's about the person reading it.
Yeah,
It's about-
right.
You got to know your
Right.
teacher.
That's true. And I don't know him. I've never met this man. I wouldn't know him if he walked in right now. See, I'm taking a criminal justice class, which is done through Zoom. And I like that because you at least get a feel of the instructor and kind of what he's about. These other 2 classes, I'll never see these teachers ever. I think that's kind of weird. I mean, I think it's no different than when my children were doing remote learning. They weren't really, I mean, I don't believe for children it's not a good way to learn. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a terrible way to learn.
I
mean,
agree.
kids are learning new. When you're at college, man, get your shit together. I mean, like, you know what you got to do, right?
There's a certain drive that at that point you
Yes,
need to already have.
right. And some knowledge.
I was just talking to
yeah.
my wife about this
Right.
actually, and you just don't have that drive when you're that young because you don't even know you're supposed to have it.
Exactly. And I think it's a disadvantage. I think my son has got some lower grades. Jake does. And I'm like, well, of course. He's doing like advanced math with no one there ready to show him how to do it. What do you think's going to happen? You know, so I don't know, man. It is a very, and we all know this, it's just a weird time. And if they thought that's how schools would ever work, Lee, I mean, you probably have more insight into that as your wife's in the school system.
I mean, what's the other option? Just don't go to school?
No.
I mean, are they learning something at least?
I think you can't hold them to the standards they would be there, though, in my opinion. Like, if you think you're going to hold them to the same standards
All right.
of
Do
being
you
there.
really think what grade? What grade are we talking here?
For Jake?
Yeah.
He's in the 7th grade.
Do you think any scores that you make in the 7th grade are going to drastically affect your life? One
Well,
way
as
or
long as you
another?
don't fail.
I mean,
even failing 7th grade.
I think that's
Do you
when
think that's going to drastically affect your life in
I
some
think
way?
that's where that drive starts for a lot of kids.
That could be true.
Because of the very next year, you got kids that are taking algebra in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And it's offered in 7th grade to take pre-algebra. And what it boils down to is it's got to be that kid's decision.
Yeah.
Well,
Same thing with IPS or physical science.
not all of us are cut out for advanced math, you know?
I don't think most of us are, and I really don't. I've thought this for a long time. I don't even think kids should be required to take all these stupid math classes.
What
to
do you
some
want
degree.
them to take?
I think they should get
history of cinema.
I mean, if that's what they want to do.
Fistful of Dollars 101.
There's nothing wrong with teaching them how to write, because what do you do at most jobs? I mean, most people
You have to communicate.
communicate, but
So-
math, there's a calculator. Like, dude, who's doing
Come
math in their
on.
head anymore at work?
So math should not be taught.
Now, if you get to, I think high school is too push. I think we're too far pushing people ahead. You obviously think that to some degree with this capitalistic society. By 25, you need to get a job you're doing for the rest of your life. Well, that's stupid. I mean, at 25, I didn't even know who I was. You know, you could argue at 40, still learning. But I think high school should be more of the basic. There should be economic classes, how to balance a checkbook, about credit cards, about financial, like real life stuff. Here's how to, I know, oh yeah, they have these home ec classes. That's a joke, dude. Learn how to clean your house, how to cook, how to prepare them. And then when you get to college should be the point where you're like, oh, you want to be a computer programmer? Let's get you into this
I mean,
advanced
I
math.
understand what you're saying at some point, but I think if you look at the hard data, it is so much easier to learn anything the younger you are.
That's true.
Languages, math, programming, these are concepts that need to be instilled in young minds early and often. This idea of waiting until you're older and
You're 18.
teach them bullshit until they get to college. No, I can't agree with that at all. Now, there are going to be some kids that have no interest in it, and I think it is foolish to force a kid to sit in a chair when he doesn't has repeatedly shows no interest in. But there's certainly going to be kids, as John said earlier, that show markers that they belong in pre-algebra or trigonometry.
I'm with
I
that.
don't think he's saying that those classes shouldn't be available. He's just saying that they should
That's
be
for the kids that yes.
required for a degree.
Right, yes,
for
that.
I mean, that's kind of how
school.
school already works.
No.
Yeah.
There were kids we knew that were never gonna do math, and it was fine. There were kids that loved auto mechanics, and you were like, that guy is gonna work with cars. Why is that guy being required to take algebra? It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
I mean, how many times have you used a parabola in your everyday life?
Okay, that's not the
I
point.
don't know what the
here.
hell that is. I took those classes.
Algebra 2.
The point is, like, I mean, at the same time, I mean, like,
Y equals X
obviously,
squared, basically.
I think there's people who study this type of thing for a living, and we should defer to their opinion. But
Betsy Voss?
no,
That's who's over the education system right now.
That doesn't mean anything.
Well, who are these people?
I mean, there's people who
What do you mean, those people?
studying. I have a friend that is a professor that teaches teachers how to do math.
We've already learned
other students.
But we've already learned there's an inherent racist bias in testing and learning.
Okay, well, we're trying to overcome them.
No,
to
we're
say
not.
That there's
We're not.
To say that there is an inherent racism and we should give up is
no, but we're not.
Is not the direction that we should be going.
In this country, we're still not over the police brutality thing, and this has been going on now for 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 years.
We're trying to get over it. We are. There's people in the streets.
What is trying? You know what
Yoda
Yoda said? You know what Yoda said? Do or do not. There is no try.
Okay, what are you doing then?
Raising my kids not to be like that.
Okay,
so that starts at home for me.
So that's it. We're trying. That's all we can do, right?
No, there's people that have power that are not trying. Trump and his lackeys who are in charge are not trying. They're telling you they're not. Their message at the RNC was literally, police, we got your back no matter what, baby. That's literally what they were saying.
And I don't think anyone sitting at this table agrees with that message.
Well, no, but half the country believes in that message.
Well, probably more than half, and it'll probably be another long 4 years is what we're looking at. You know, because we got more than half the people in this country, and then we've got more than half in Russia as well. So, you know, what do we do?
I don't know. I don't know what we do, man.
I don't know how you're going to derail the conversation, though. That I think even that guy that likes working on cars.
Yes.
I think we still have to try to get through him that reading, math, these higher sciences, I think poetry, art, these things are important.
Brother.
There's life outside of fixing an automobile. I'm guilty of it myself, like just wanting to divest in my self-interest, but honestly, a more well-rounded citizen is a better citizen in my opinion.
There's nothing wrong with having the option to look at those classes, like John said, and going, hey, we're halfway through this class, we're halfway through the year, and you're not good at it, so we're going to let you do something else. That's not the system.
Fine.
No, but that's not the system we have. The system we have is you better get this done or you're done, right? So you get into geometry and you need that to pass or whatever the case would be. If you can't get that, you got to drop out, dude. And then
I don't necessarily think. I think there's plenty of resources and a lot of effort is done by teachers to specifically focus on those kids in need and help them through it. And they might be like you, and I
think some teachers are like that.
They might get through with a 70.
The
they might be happy with that 70%.
Then give them a 70 and say, go on your way.
That's pretty much what we started doing with No Child Left Behind.
Why are we failing kids in school? That's what I've never understood either. What are we doing here?
This is why, because you just said, especially in younger ages, sometimes a kid is not up to the same standard as other kids in his age. He's on the lower percentile.
And that's life.
By holding them back a year, they get to compete equally with learn equally with other kids on the same level.
That doesn't work, though. Those kids end up dropping out, Lee. Those kids never go, oh, I'm a year back. Now I'm excelling. Dude, I went to school with enough people. Once they started failing, they're done, dude. They're hitting the eject button.
The downside with the failing is they may repeat that class, but they're actually repeating that class line for line. And the thing is, if they didn't learn it the first time that same way that was taught, how are they going to learn it that second time
first
around?
Off, let me address what David said first. And that's, yes, if we put a social stigma on being held behind and call it failing, it's undoubtedly going to cause conflict. And there's ways to address that from a societal standpoint. And to your point too, John, if that's the approach that we take, yes, we are letting those kids down, and that's not what we need to be doing either. So, but it doesn't matter because education is not a priority in this country anyway. So it's never going to be fixed.
Right.
True enough.
If anything, education is put on the lowest. And here's an example. Here in Tennessee, we couldn't even give the teachers a raise that they were promised.
It's messed
and then
up.
all of a sudden, we needed more money for something else, and bam, they raised the taxes. Did those teachers get that raise?
Of course not.
No. Did they spend that money on other stuff?
Yep.
So
But
there
here's
you go.
the irony of life is like when you were in school, there was a stigma associated really if you not in an honors class, but just in a regular class, okay? Not honors or AP or all those rich white kids that were in at Hillsborough. Let's keep it real here. But there was a stigma in other classes. If you were too smart, you were made fun of for that, dude. You were totally, there was a level of intelligence you had to get to. And if you went over that, it was bad for you, right? But then the other part of society looks at, a lot of people look at their nose down on people that are not smart, that are stupid people. It's a weird dichotomy that you're right, that I don't know how you fix this society, because if you're too smart, you're a nerd, you're a loser, you're a geek. But if you're not smart enough, you're a mouth breather, you're a moron. So do we really as a society just want everyone to be around us, just to be average, right down the middle of the pike? I mean, do you think that's something as people? We don't want anyone to surpass us, but we don't want anyone really to be too far underneath us.
I mean, if you were to ask me personally, and my views are pretty radical in this, and I think that a paradigm shift is absolutely necessary to correct the course. But I think this is actually a symptom of capitalism, especially late stage capitalism, right? Like it's bred into, and like the problem at the end of the day is we don't really know anything different because that's all we've ever experienced. So we can imagine a system in which people are encouraged to do whatever it might be. If it's repair a car, I've been to auto mechanic shop and lost my mind because they did a horrible job. Yeah. You come out and your car is in worse shape than it brought in. But imagine if everyone in the auto body shop loved to be there, and not only they were encouraged to do so, and they were rewarded equally for what they had contributed to society. But we're not in a situation where that's possible. It's very clearly that there's only one constant that proves your success, and that is the almighty dollar.
Right.
And you can actually go.
I'm not.
You can go
arguing.
deeper than the dollar if you really want, and talk about the ability to extract labors from others. And then you get in some real deep issues of things like slavery and control over others and power, but we'll save that for another day.
It is weird that society does look down on auto mechanics, though. They do.
Until they need one.
Right, and then they love them, but
Right.
you're right. It's
but they do that with everyone. It literally every profession is the same way. Everyone looks down on the cops until they need one. Everyone looks down on the doctors until they need one. Everyone looks down on the lawyers
wait a minute.
until they need one.
No one looks down on the freaking doctors. Are you kidding me? Who you know that doesn't like doctors?
I mean, there's doctor
Besides Trump-
stereotypes and stuff, and people complaining about how much it costs to go to the doctor and stuff like
but
that.
the doctors don't set those fees.
To say the doctors don't have anything to do with the cost of health care is
They don't.
might be a stretch.
They don't dictate. But yes, I understand what you're saying. But I mean, there are other factors that dictate their charges, like insurance. They malpractice insurance.
Sure.
They have. To
it was
have
just
it.
It was just a broader throw upon how people view others.
Right. No, I understand that, but I don't know. I think you're right. There's a lot of. It's just like if you think too deeply about any societal issue, it will leave you depressed because, I mean, it's not gonna be fixed in our lifetime. That's a guarantee. Like that's a fact. Maybe our kids, probably not. Maybe after them, if the Earth's still here, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it is. There are realms of possibility where it is possible we could see change, but it would be so radical that most people would call that suffering, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
So the only other way is to do some sort of generational change.
Right.
So I don't know.
But anyway, that's my week. So there you go.
Yeah.
What
Well,
about
good
your
luck
football?
on your next paper.
It'll be fine. I'm going harder to the paint in it. And you're right. Maybe there's a lesson where I am an arrogant man. I will admit that. And maybe I need to take some of the lessons he said. And you're right, man. I didn't elaborate well enough. So I'm going to try harder and then keep going. That's all you can do at the end of the day, But I always think is our dad went back to night school. He obviously dropped out of school when he was 16 years old or something. So he never got his diploma. And so he later on in his life, I say later on, I was 8 or 9 years old. So he was probably 26, 27. He started going back to night school. And I remember going with him and being in the car while he went inside. That's how much I wanted to be around my dad. I was I will go with you to these. He went to this air conditioning class to get certified. I remember we had that van, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle van. I remember going there and waiting in the car while he took this entire like hour, 2-hour class to get this certification. But anyways, he went back to go get his GED. I remember he was practicing and he could never get past the essay part. Like he couldn't write out. I guess he couldn't get and he went to the night class. I guess I don't know. I would imagine the teachers there weren't the best in the world, unfortunately. But so that always kind of held him back was the essay part. So I'm like, well, there you go. That being said, and he also did know a lot about cars and never taught me. I don't know Lee. Lee can speak for Lee, but he never taught me a darn thing about cars. Jack squat. Like I know nothing about cars. Like I know where the engine is. There's the tires. I mean, you can change a tire. Anybody can do that. But like the workings of it, nothing. Did he teach you anything about?
I don't know. I mean,
do you know
have
this?
You never changed a battery? Have you never changed? Yeah, I've changed.
Yes,
I've changed spark plugs. I've changed the alternators. I've changed belts.
You've changed alternate? No, that's
I've
pretty
done
impressive.
it before.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to do it again. I would probably just pay someone to do it at this point.
All right, well, that's decent. John, what is your?
Did my dad teach me how to do it?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe someone. I mean, I held a flashlight and watched him do many things.
I remember.
I knew this story was coming out. I love it. Go
I
ahead.
remember Lee was a savant at even computers, even at a young age.
Yes,
I know this story as well.
And there was a day that Lee's father asked him to help him explain something on the computer, and he wasn't getting it right away. And Lee he either called him stupid or dumb or something like that. What was it?
He did not call him stupid.
I
But
would probably gotten beat for that one.
His tone was, "You're a moron." So yes. I also
Well, I mean, when you're sitting there telling someone step by step how to do something on a computer, and you do want to do nothing but get your hands on the keyboard and mouse, as growing up as an idiot savant with computers, let's say, it's frustrating to watch someone do the incorrect thing on a computer. It's frustrating. As a small child, I was,
teenager,
a small child, very frustrated. I'm sure.
teenager.
Anyway.
So anyway, due to this tone that Lee used,
It's bad.
his dad brought him outside, popped the hood to the truck, and said, "Change the oil." And Lee's just like, he's like, "Come on."
Oh, Lee was out there for an extended period of time. This was not 5 minutes,
whatever.
bro. This was hours.
That's our dad's parenting. I want to know, why was John even in this situation?
Thank you. I was going to say that next. If you ever wondered, why is the show called Blame Your Brother? Because John's not your brother. John was at our house so much, he practically was our brother because he was there for that story.
I would like the story where our dad disciplined John one time.
Oh, no, John used to go, "Man, your dad's the best, bro. He's really funny." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's hilarious." I was like, so yes, that was,
I think I initially went up there, and I think David was grounded.
Probably.
Which happened a lot.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh man, I ain't got nowhere else to go."
I try to tell my kids this all the time. I'm like, listen here. I'm not saying I had the worst childhood ever, but I mean, you've got a much better childhood than I have, because when I would come home with a like an 84 on a report card, that's a C back then. I mean, I know it's like a B now. I'm like, great. Where were those grades back when we were in school? I would have taken all 80s to be Bs, but I would be grounded for 6 weeks at a time. And that meant, back then, Lee, what did grounding mean for David for 6 weeks at a time? What was I allowed to do?
Tell us.
I was
lay in bed and read.
Lay in bed and
Go
read.
outside.
Lay in bed and read every day. Get home from school.
They were trying to raise Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, apparently. I was reading Rush Limbaugh books. I was reading about how bad Ted Kennedy was. I was reading all these, like, just pretty much alt-right books, I was like, I remember Rush Limbaugh. I was like a huge fan. I would watch his TV show. Every book. If he had a book, I'd grab it. I'd read it. If anybody that was associated with him had a book, I'd read it. So that explains a lot.
The brainwashing of a small child.
Oh, it was bad. I mean, I don't know why our parents even allowed to do it, because they're not even Republicans on top of that. So it's a whole weave of mysteries around there. So
It's a different time, a different place.
John, what about you? Anything going on this week?
Just watching stuff.
You're watching a lot of. You've been talking
Black Mirror.
John's
Yeah.
finally into Black Mirror. So
John and his Black Mirror takes, man. We got to get into this. John, first off, You're like 2 years late on the Black Mirror at least.
2 years.
What is it,
More
like
than
4?
Oh, I think it's more than that, brother. But go ahead.
It was like Black
I
Mirror
think the
released
last
in the Kennedy
episodes.
era.
I think the last episodes were 2017. I think.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Okay, so you're just
So,
tuning into Black
3 years.
Mirror. I don't know what everyone else was talking about it. You're just like, oh, I'll never watch that. So you finally tune in, and you don't get the point of the show. You don't get the point of the
boy.
show at all. It's like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's like a show with these shorts, and you're supposed to like alternate realities that make you think about future possibilities. And you're asking questions like, did the dude get arrested for killing his daughter and his wife, or for robbing a bank? And it's like, what? This is like the smallest detail in an hour-long show, and that's what you took from it?
When I was in the short time I was in college, my English 102 class, everything we read, we were asked to take in every detail that we could and see if it lent to the story, if it didn't lead to the story, what could we take away from every little detail that could be that was there. And so I've taken that, and I do that with anything that has Easter eggs, anything that has a moral to it, or anything that could lead to a moral. And technically, I mean, Black Mirror is about letting technology get the best of us and the dark side that it could bring to our society. So every aspect of that.
I would say it's a good synopsis. So,
I mean, there's a couple of episodes that
but John,
aren't very
no,
dark, but-
don't take his bait.
But for the most part, that's what the show's about. And so I just want to make sure that I'm getting every aspect of what I can from the show.
Okay, that's
And it is
wait.
Easter egg heavy.
Do you watch that like while you're watching this? Are you editing this in your mind, or do you go back and think about it later? Or do you watch it more than one? Because John,
Most of it's on that when I'm just watching
that
it
is
one time.
laborious, man.
that's
like
it's tedious. It
that
can't
is-
be fun.
It's still fun because
You don't know how to enjoy a Black Mirror episode.
I think you got to enjoy like the mood.
a lot of it I'm taking is how I would do if I was in those people's shoes.
Oof.
As it's playing.
It's even worse.
And so it is pretty bad.
There's some
Dave-
bad stuff.
Well,
happening.
there is some bad stuff that Dave knows that I used to be able to read palms, and
He's saying palms, PALMS, and he can never read palms.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's
No,
why I
you
said
didn't-
used to.
I know what you mean. They don't know what
Okay,
you mean.
that's why I'm. That's
So
why
you understand. You got to tell them you don't really believe in palm reading.
No, I don't.
But there is an art to it.
There's an art to it.
Okay.
And I'm definitely not an expert in any way, shape, or
Okay.
form. The way
But you knew the basics of
the
of
way I
science. Okay,
even
yes.
remember the basics of it is based on my own palm.
Okay.
And the things that I know that's true about my own palm, and I use air quotes because I don't really believe it's true, but the aspects that they say are true for the way my palm looks and how it's read means a certain thing, and then the opposite would mean the opposite. And so that's how I remember how all those things are true. And that's the way I look at when I get into shows and books even. I determine I get into the book by saying this person is like me in this way, and he's the opposite, or she's the opposite of me in this way. And so I almost everything that I read or watch for any kind of entertainment value, that's how I look at it.
That is very interesting. I don't know. I've never. No one's ever told me that's the way they approach like film. Or
A lot of people aren't like that. But
I would
that's the way
say
I am.
most are not like that. But you are basically dissecting characters based on
Myself.
your personality. Now you're saying I'm the self-centered one on this show. I mean, because come on, man. Like there are certain movies where I'm like, would I do that? And I think that's about as far as I go with it. You're doing a full like breakdown of this.
Psychoanalysis.
Like let's take a movie that's popular. I don't know, man. Like where a main character. What's one? Black Panther. Did you do that with Black Panther? Were you like, yo, what would I do if I was the leader of Wakanda? Or what traits does he have that I don't have?
I mean, as far as decision by decision that he made, obviously I don't have his abilities,
Yes, I mean that.
but the decisions that he made, I would
Wow.
probably make kind of the same decision.
How does your head not explode? In Avengers, there are like 2,000 characters.
He's like the dude tracing on the whiteboard and hanging
Got
up
all the string, the yarn.
when
connecting
there
dots.
when there are multiple characters like that,
Yeah.
I usually those are the movies that become rewatchable for me. And
Wait
I
a
can
second,
kinda-
John. I want to make sure because this is a moment on the show. So you're telling me you
Every
take
character.
Avengers, the final one. What was it called? Infinity
Endgame.
Endgame. You're telling me when you watched that movie for the first time, you picked main characters and you thought, would I do that? Would I not do that? Da da da. Then you had to go back the second time
Just to
and
make
start
sure.
breaking down the secondary characters. You probably had to go back a third and fourth time to break down the secondary character because there's a lot of people in that movie. Obviously, that's
Well, the thing is both Endgame and Infinity War are both extremely heavy action movies.
yes.
And since I don't really
Not a lot of sustenance to it.
there's not a whole lot of decision making in those movies.
I don't know, man.
So
the last one, there were some big decisions. In
That
one.
movie was completely
lot of-
vapid. Are you
A
kidding
lot
me?
of a lot of these decisions were
They
taken
had to
out
put
of.
in time travel into it.
That's not just it though. A lot of the hard decisions were kind of made easy. The hardest decision would have been for Tony Stark. If he changed time, would he lose his daughter?
Right.
But they took that decision away
What about? Isn't
Well,
that
he
the
had
most-
because he wouldn't lose
Well,
his
the
daughter.
end was a pretty big decision.
He's
not-
giving up his life for everyone. That's
Not everybody would do that. You
what about
understand that, right?
the
Like,
Black Widow?
not everyone would have
and-
been a superhero.
Black
in it.
Widow,
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Would you do that? I mean, there are some, but I see what you're saying. So let's. I'm trying to think. I don't know what dramas you've seen that would lend themselves to like a
Okay,
breakdown.
let's do Chariots of Fire.
Oh God. That- Come on, you've never even seen Chariots of Fire all the way through, have you, John?
No, not on that.
Okay, it's
Okay, well, I
I have.
let me switch topics.
You know
a
what?
little bit.
Wait a minute. You tell me you've never seen this movie all the way through. You made me watch that stupid ass movie.
Wait, did it make it his list?
Hey, no, it wasn't on
No,
my
it
list.
wasn't
It was
on
an
the-
honorable mention.
Still, how you? Gonna,
I cannot believe this. I watched that movie.
there's so much ridiculousness
Dave.
coming from this side of the table.
Gotcha.
You're gonna pay for that one.
Okay, so speaking about movies, this week had a big trailer premiere of Dune,
Okay.
the remake. Have you seen the trailer for this?
No.
No interest at all.
I haven't seen the original. Haven't seen the trailer.
Okay,
Haven't
go
read the-
watch the trailer, man. This movie looks awesome.
That's what they said about the last one, didn't they?
There's been a couple of different.
Yeah, and they
versions
always
of
go,
it.
man, the trailer looks awesome, bro. Here's the thing. That's not a movie for the general consumption. Like, if you love that movie, like, obviously you like it. 'cause
I've
you
read
brought
all
it
the
up.
books.
Okay.
I think they're great.
So you're
I
gonna
think
love
Frank
that
Herbert's
stuff.
great. Even it's a little weird, but
Me and John are probably gonna be like, I'm gonna pass on that one
all right,
because
well,
that
go
looks stupid.
listen. Go watch the trailer. This one you will be excited about.
Okay, then let's bring up one more movie I watched this week. Do you know who Charlie Kaufman is? He is a writer. He wrote Adaptation. He wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Very heady guy. Okay, he's got this new movie on Netflix. It's called I'm Thinking About Ending Things. Okay, and it's got basically two characters. I can tell you who they were. You won't know who they actually are. So it's a guy and a girl, and it's basically they go to meet his parents. I'm trying to give you a general what it's about, but it's not even really about that. They go to meet his parents, and weird stuff starts happening, and then all this weird stuff starts just unfolding. So I watch this movie. It's like 2 hours and some change. This is like, it's a watch, you know. And I'm trying to figure out what is this movie about.
Hold on, before we continue, is this like set up for payback for making you watch Chariots? of
No.
Fire?
You'll never. I don't know if you'll watch it. Well, me and my wife watched it, and she's like, "Is this movie ever going to end? What is happening?" And I'm go, I don't know. Like, I'm watching it to get to the end where Charlie Kaufman, because I watched Being John Malkovich yesterday, and that pays off at the end. It kind of explains everything to some degree. You can follow it. Eternal Sunshine, Spotless Mind. It pays off. Okay. This movie never paid off, and I was like, "What happened?" So I went online. I went, "Okay, what is this movie about?" And someone had written this. It's about this, and then I went, "Oh yeah, that movie was awesome." But is that really a great movie if I left it not knowing what the hell it was about? That's my question
Maybe it was
to
just
both
beyond you, man. You know?
I think it's beyond
Maybe
everybody.
Your brain was too smooth.
Every movie critic I've heard talk about on podcasts are like, yeah, dude, until I read it, I didn't even know what it was about. I mean, they like enjoyed the acting. The acting was great. The lighting was great, cinematography, all that. But like, is that a good movie if you leave it going, I don't know what just happened? Like, I don't even know another movie. Like Donnie Darko, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Donnie Darko's a lot like that. Have you seen that before? Where it's just like, what is happening, dude? I don't even know really. So it's one where you can watch it over and over again, or you can just go read. So are those good movies, or what? What do you guys think about that? Because I
think if a movie makes you go Google the meaning or leaves you wanting more, I feel like that is a good movie. I think Tolkien himself said that when you write a story, you don't put all the details in, or it won't be a great story. You have to leave room for people to figure out and use their imagination to form part of the world.
Well, I mean, I look at it like the song 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20.
Oh, my God. You're kidding me, right?
No, he went there.
I'm saying that for the average listener, for someone, it sounds like a relationship between a guy and a girl,
right?
And things just not being perfect. But in reality, it's about his mom having cancer,
right,
and growing up with that.
I thought it was about her being a mental illness.
No, it was cancer.
Are you sure about this?
Yes. Anyway, he talks
about it.
Are
you kidding me? Of course he's sure about it. He's been waiting to talk about this.
He talks about it during Storytellers when,
okay.
and so and he before he prefaces it, he even says, I almost don't want to tell you what the song is about, because I want people have taken the song for their own meaning, and I don't want to disrupt that. And so I think movies and stories are the same way. That I think that a lot of writers will leave parts out to make a story someone else's own.
Well, I will say this, though. What you're talking about is on the far end of the extreme, right?
Well, yes.
When you make a movie about nonsense and you can't fill in the details
right.
unless you go Google it, I feel like he has missed his mark. He didn't put enough of the story to let a person reasonably come to their own decision. Like the person who typed up that article, how did they talk to the writer and he told them?
But maybe I'm lazy. Maybe I should have went back, because I think I would have. I kind of caught up on some of it, but I couldn't really piece it all together. It's hard to even explain like what it's about, you know. But I feel like maybe I was lazy, and if I didn't have the internet, maybe I would have back in the 90s. I probably would have watched like 4 or 5 times and that's what I think it's about. Once I read it was like very clear. Well, I mean, the movie websites weren't. But I think songs and movies are also different because, you know, you're like Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. People think that's like a
love song.
Love song, One by U2. You have, there's a number of them where people
take the meaning in it.
Yeah, they're not really listening. They're listening to like the chorus, you know, like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. So I can see that there you go. All right, well, that's what I guess we did this week. And that's it. We watched movies and tried to fix the education system. Fantastic. All right. Well, do we want to go jump into Dear John?
We? I don't.
Or do we got news stories to touch before that?
You tell me. Where do you want to go?
Well, let's touch on one of them. Just pick a random one, man. Speaking of movies, let's go movie heavy. Cancel Netflix is a hashtag that's happening over a movie called Cuties. 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 Because they believe the film presents a sexualization of young girls. Now, this movie, which I did not know about until today, is about these young girls. I guess they're supposed to be 10 or 11 in the movie, and they are in a dance troupe. Now, I've not seen this movie. I don't think I really want to watch it, but they're in a dance troupe.
Definitely seems like a turnoff.
And they're doing like twerking, and so the cancel culture movement which is a lot of conservatives in this case, are upset because they said this is sexualizing or putting children in a sexualized manner. Okay. Now the director says, well, that's the whole point of the movie, is that's what we're doing to young people, is that we are making them become these sexual people before they should even be presented as that. And I think it's kind of a weird line to walk, where it's like, all right, you can't make this movie without casting young people in it. And you can't tell the story you want to have without presenting them in some kind of like sexualized manner. So that is a fine line to walk there. And
I think you can do those things.
I mean,
You
Can
try.
you in this culture without somebody going, "Oh, you're being
Well,
horrible"?
first off, this is a French movie. French cinema is not French cinema hits a little different already going in. For whatever reason, it's a cultural thing.
It's true.
It's a culture based more in art, like looking through art to see the truth. Obviously, I think the people who made this movie had good intentions with it, like you said. I don't think their intention was to create this like child exploitation film based upon what you're saying about it.
I'm glad. But how do we know?
I
Like,
mean,
we don't know. We don't.
I mean, you're not going to know unless you watch the whole movie.
But even then, we don't know what the director's true intentions were. He may like 12-year-old girls, and this may have given him the opportunity to cast them in this light. Or, like he said, he may be a man of his word. I would take him at his word because, I don't know the guy. And he gave a pretty good explanation of what the movie was trying to present. But you got to know, like, you're right, it's French cinema, but I mean, there's been some American films that have kind of, walked the line. Kids would be one of them, which was written by Harmony Korine, who we went to school with. But that was the same thing where that was sexualizing young teenagers who were having sex all the time. And that was the central thing. That, and people were upset about that. They've accused that director of being a pedophile or having pedophilia, notions about him as well.
And that came out when?
Oh, back in what, 90s?
The man was
That's what I'm
he
saying.
was a kid when he wrote it, though.
Well, Harvey Korine didn't direct. He didn't direct it. He just wrote it.
Right. That's what
And they're saying the director
right.
had this kind of had this thing around him that he was like someone saying a predator or someone who liked to over sexualize teenagers. So I don't know, man. I think it is ballsy regardless.
Well, I mean, not only the people who made the movie, but there's people who had to approve it to get it to premiere at Sundance. That's not one person's decision. This is a whole committee of people coming together and saying this is okay, right?
I don't think kids would have made it as far as it did if it was being produced now.
It's a good question. I mean, and then
probably went
Netflix has said no, it's staying up. So I don't know. It's nothing I don't want to watch. It does not, even the message, I'm like, I get it, bro. But
I mean, kids had a very clear message. I mean, I don't know what this movie's about. Is it just about kids dancing? That seems a little weird if that's the case.
Well,
it's probably against a lot of the parents and the troops allowing it to happen. I could see the same movie being made probably about like these pageants.
So it's very clearly against the position of these kids
allegedly,
being put.
but
Okay,
I guess
because kids was very clearly like at the end of the movie is very hard hitting and like this is not appropriate behavior. These kids are obviously should not be behaving in this manner.
I don't know about that. I think the one guy in Kids was not supposed to be doing what he was doing, but
Are
you going to
it's
say no?
symptomatic of a larger problem? I would say
Yes,
that the
yes.
whole system was
Right.
broken.
But so just to give you a heads up, if you're out on the social media this week and you see cancel Netflix, you see this Cuties thing, at least now you can tell people, oh yeah, I know what that's kind of about. But I don't know. They do a bunch of things in the movie. It's very similar to Kids now that we kind of talk about it in the sense of what they're doing. They're taking nude pictures of themselves. I don't think that's presented on film, but they're taking selfies and sending them out to people. And I don't know, man. Sometimes art is going to push boundaries. It's going to upset people, but sometimes it needs to be presented. I mean, I hate to say it, and that's what art is, though. Art should disrupt and upset.
Okay, so you're signing the petition or not?
No, hell no.
Not watching the movie, not signing the petition.
I'm not watching it, but I'm not signing the petition.
John, are you going to partake in either of those?
Probably not. I'm not canceling Netflix. If that's
I mean,
what
you
mean.
kind of piqued my interest to want to watch it.
There
now.
you go.
I would never have even known or wanted to watch this.
But you
now
can't-
that there's such controversy over it, I want to just judge for myself.
Bro, you can't watch that. You got to watch that alone, which even is more creepy. You can't watch that with people coming around, dude. They're going to be like, bro, what? Why are those 10-year-olds there? Like,
I'm getting flagged is what you're saying?
yeah, bro. I mean, I would be
Got to
like,
be on the VPN.
VPN, incognito. I'm down in the basement on the side corner looking up. I'm like, bro, I can barely even see this movie, but I
put the tape over your camera.
yeah,
lens.
exactly, everything. All right, well, with all that great segment, let's stop for Dear John.
Dear John, dear John, by the time you read these lines, I'll be gone.
All right, it's time for Dear John. Lee will read an email that was sent in. John will try to give this person advice.
This one comes in. Dear John, me and my husband have been together for 5 years. We have one son and another child on the way. I've been dropping hints about engagement, but he just brushes them off. She said husband in the beginning.
Wait, what? Is
I think
that
she meant boyfriend, but
okay.
I really wanted to be married, and I don't care if it's a long engagement. This is the man I want to spend the rest of my life with. I feel like an engagement is the only way I can be sure that he wants the same things out of life that I want. What can I do? From KC in the 6'2".
I mean, I think you're about 5 years and 9 months too late about hinting. I think you just got to be.
What?
They've got a 5-year-old together.
Okay.
And another one on their way.
They've been together for 5 years. They have
a
one son and another
They don't say
child.
how
on the
old
way.
the son is, but
Okay. Well, how old the one son? I mean, basically, you're way over the dropping.
So people
hints
should
limit.
only have kids if they're married, is your opinion?
No, I'm
That's
saying
what
if
he
she
said.
wants to be married to this guy, if that was in the cards for her, she should have been about upfront with it before they had the kid.
But she wasn't. So what does she do now?
She needs to be out for the hints. Is obviously it's way too
brother,
late for
it
that.
passed the hints. They have
That's
two
what I'm
kids
saying.
together.
That's what I'm saying.
So what does she do? You're not helping her. You're saying stop
I'm
with the
saying no.
hints.
Stop with the hints and be.
Well, you get
forward.
like a gun and like point it at him and say, "Give me
Is
that ring."
Is there's no middle ground for you? Is it go from dropping hints to
Well, that's what I'm saying. What is she?
hey baby, Italian might sound good tonight. Click click. Where's my lasagna?
That's
Is
what I'm
that-
saying.
is that
What should she do? You say stop dropping hints. Like maybe she's already came out and said it. I mean, if she's brushing it off, that's probably more than a hint.
I don't think he wants to be married at all. And I mean, speaking minus John's thoughts or opinions, why do you want to be married is probably a better question. Why? Because society tells you have to be married, or I don't know. Why do you want to be married?
Why
Maybe
does anyone want to be married?
Well, most of us don't. But look, but society tells us we have to
For
be married.
those listening and are curious, my wife is the only one in chat.
That's true. So we could say what we want to say. No, I mean, honestly, let's just be honest. I can speak for me, and I've John Lee, but even if I wasn't married to my wife, I would still be with her, and I would still operate exactly the same as I do now. For some reason, society said you need to make this official, and we can tax you and track you and do this and that. And it's a nice tax break, so maybe that.
All right, let me just stop.
That might be the end.
Let me just
tax
stop
break.
you. Let
It's
me
not
just
bad.
stop you. All that BS that you just said.
Yeah.
I don't think that woman really cares. What she wants to know is how does she get that ring on her finger? Can you give her a hint on how, she doesn't care about what you think of her boyfriend. She just wants the ring on her hand. What does she do?
Tax purposes, baby.
She needs to just be front with them, tell her flat out what she really wants, and find out where his stance is and how they can meet in the middle somehow.
There's not
Or
a
if it's-
middle, brother. It's either married or not. There's not a middle ground, John.
Yeah,
There's
but
literally no middle.
Yes,
I'll
but
be
I
married
don't-
to you on Mondays,
Well,
and
no, no, no,
Wednesdays,
that's not what I'm
Fridays,
getting
and
at.
every
Where's
other
that
weekend.
contract at?
the fact is that she's been with them this long and they're not married. Maybe she has some give. Obviously, she
John,
does
what,
a little
what,
bit.
John? What is the give? There's no give. It's married or not married. There's literally, what's the give? There's no give, brother.
I think there's some give.
What is the give?
I mean, I don't want to get into it, but there's always give.
What are y'all talking about? I'm so confused right now. You're either married or you're not.
No, there's a wide spectrum of marriages. People have open marriages. People
Oh.
have closed marriages.
Oh, so maybe he wants to be in an open marriage.
We don't know. I'm just saying there's definitely
okay.
I
give
mean, if
in
it's all
marriage.
about
Okay.
if it's all about just that status that she wants to be married, that's one thing he
Brother,
might be able to give in
Look,
on.
if the dude
But-
has had 2 kids with her, I'm assuming he wants to be with her. Maybe he just doesn't want to get married. Maybe it's not a big deal to him, is what I think it accounts to.
I'm just saying, and the thing is, I mean, we've all met some meatheads that can't take a hint, and they that thought just hasn't crossed their mind.
So that's the guy you want to be married to? I mean, either way.
All right,
mean-
John, just sum it
yeah,
up for
sum
us.
it up. We
One
got to get out of
sentence.
here. Do it.
be up front, sit him down, tell him what you want, and find out where he is on that.
There you go.
Boom.
Communication. Who would have thought?
Yeah, but they can't communicate or they
Yeah,
already would
obviously.
have. So that's what I'm saying. That's
That's what
really
I'm saying. It's really bad advice.
it's vapid advice.
Yeah, it is.
Drop some bigger hints to the fool. I don't know what to tell you. You ask him to marry you.
Start
then.
packing your
No,
bags.
You ask him. You ask him to
There you
marry
go.
you. Pop out the
There you
ring.
go. That's a good idea.
Put a ring on his finger. Okay.
Leash on his neck.
All right. So there we go. So that's the end of the
From
episode.
the chat, I hope the writer is not watching this.
I hope not either. I hope they delete this entire episode. Like, well, they're not going to get to my question. Yeah, you're good. All right, well, this was Blame Your Brother, episode 202. Hopefully you enjoyed what you heard. Hopefully we helped you laugh a little bit, get through your week. And you need to tell everyone about the podcast, and you need to go to bybpod.com. That is our website, all of our past episodes, all of our social media. We have articles up by our friend Adam Cox, who writes for the website, so go check those out. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on that link first, then buy anything you want. It helps us out. We got shirts, we got face masks, we got coffee mugs, we got leggings, we got all kinds of merchandise. And if you want to send in your question, I don't know why you would, but if you do, you can email us directly from the website, bybpod.com. There's a form right there, and you can also send us a voicemail. So, number of things on there. Rate, subscribe, what all those things are. Review, just tell everybody about us.
Like.
Yeah, just like it, share it, do all that fun stuff.
Especially if you haven't yet on iTunes, give us a 5-star liking on there and leave a little note.
Or if you hate it, give us a 1. Tell us why you hate it. So, with all that being said, Lee, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.